Now we're going to talk about the determinants of a 3 by 3 matrix. If you have some matrix with the elements A, B, C, D, E, F, and G, H, and I. If you're trying to figure out what the determinant of this matrix is, remember our determinant symbols, which are just like this, similar to the absolute value symbol. And then what we do is we rewrite our elements A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, and I. And then on the outside, what we're going to write is those first two columns, we are going to write those again on the outside. So our A, D, G, and our B, E, H. And there's a reason for this. What we are going to do, what we're going to do with these matrices is we are going to multiply diagonally. So we're going to multiply A, E, and I together. Then we're going to multiply B, F, and G together. And we're going to multiply C, D, and H together. When we multiply those, we're going to add all of those up. And we're going to subtract the product of GEC, HFA, and IDB. So what happens is you multiply A, E, and I together, and we get AEI. And then you multiply BF and G together and add it, so BFG. And then you're going to multiply CDH together and add it, CDH. And then you subtract from that GEC plus HFA plus IDB. And that is how you get the determinant of a 3 by 3 matrix. Might be a little bit more useful to have numbers in there, so that's what we're going to do on the next slide. So let's go add another slide in here. And when we have a 3 by 3 matrix, I'll put some numbers in there to kind of help us figure out what's exactly going on with all these numbers that we have. So if you wanted to figure out the determinant of a 3 by 3 matrix, we'll have the numbers 1, 2, 0, 6, 8, 3, and -1, 2, 0. So remember, the first thing that we have to do when we're taking the determinant or finding the determinant of a 3 by 3 matrix is those first columns, those first two columns, we want to rewrite those outside of our matrix. And then we have 2, 8, 2. So what we are going to do is we're going to multiply diagonally 1, 8, and 0 together. Then we're going to multiply 2, 3, and -1 together, and then 0, 6, and 2 together. So let's do that first. So when I multiply them, I'm going to multiply 1 times 8 times 0. So I get 1 times 8 times 0. And then I'm going to add that to 2 times 3 times -1. So 2 times 3 times the -1. And then I'm going to add that to 0 times 6 times 2. After I get that, I'm going to do the other diagonal. So then I'm going to multiply this -1, 8, and 0 together. So I'm going to subtract the product of a -1 times 8 times 0 plus 2 times 3 times 1 plus 0 times 6 times 2. So after we multiply those things together, in that first thing right here, what we're going to have is 1 times 8 times 0 is 0. And we're going to add that to 2 times 3 times the -1, which is a -6. And then we're going to add that to 0 times 6 times 2, which is also 0. And then we're going to subtract the other diagonals. Negative 1 times 8 times 0 is 0. And we're going to add that to 2 times 3 times 1, which is 6. And then 0 times 6 times 2, which is 0. So what happens with this determinant is we get a negative 6 when we add up all of these, minus, when we add up all of these, 6. And a negative 6 minus 6 gives us the determinant of a negative 12. And that is our final answer.